Okay, so in example 2, I'm actually going to review with you guys how do you graph an equation, okay, of a line. All right, so the nice thing about this equation right here, right, you recognize it's in slope-intercept form, and you have to identify a few things, right? The slope is 2/3, okay? Now notice the negative is at the fraction bar. You can put the negative on the top, at the bar, or on the bottom, okay? So I'm going to put the negative right here, okay? It doesn't matter where you want to put it. Just put it either on the top or the bottom, okay? And then the y-intercept, right? The y-intercept, the b is just 1, which means, right, 0, 1. Okay, so in the first video, I showed you guys, right, the way you graph a linear function is you plot the y-intercept, step 1, and then you do a rise over run from the y-intercept. Okay, so this should be review, what I'm doing here with you. So if I just quickly draw a set of axes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tick marks. If I plot the y-intercept, right, 0, 1, and then I'm going to do a rise over run. Now, because it's -2, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 1, 2, right, and then run to the right 3 units. So run to the right, 1, 2, 3. So this is where my final point is, okay? So down 2, over to the right 3, and then you connect, you know, with the straight edge or, you know, student ID. Okay, so there's your line. Y is equal to -2/3 x plus 1. Okay, so plot the y-intercept, do a rise over run. Okay, what if you have a problem like this, right? Y is equal to, I don't know, y is equal to negative or positive 3/4 x or 3/2x. So this one looks a little bit weird, but the slope is fairly straightforward, right? It's the number in front of the x, okay? So oftentimes when students find the slope, they say 3/2 x. It's actually just 3/2. And the y-intercept, right? Notice there is no b, right? The b is just 0, right? There is no b, so we just call it 0. So your y-intercept is just 0, 0. Okay, so don't let this equation fool you. If it just says 3/2 x, the y-intercept is just 0, 0, okay? So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tick marks. And by the way, if you guys don't have graph paper, that's fine, okay? Just do your best, okay? So plot the point 0, 0, right? I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, right? Go up 3, and then over to the right 2 units, over to the right 2 units, okay? Why am I going up? Because anything that's positive, you go up. On the run, right, if it's positive, you go to the right. Okay, so connect it the best you can. And there is the line y equals 3/2 x. All right, so far, if you take a look at example 2a and b, right, I mean, they're in slope-intercept form. They're fairly straightforward, right? But now we're going to go into equations that are in standard form, okay? So in standard form, let's take a look at this equation right here. 5x plus 2y is equal to 10. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. You were probably thinking, hey, I should get y by itself, put it in slope-intercept form, right? You could do that. Let me show you the easy way, okay? And then I'll also show you the long way, all right? So way 1 is just get x and y intercepts. Get x and y intercepts. And x-intercept and y-intercept is a fancy name for setting the, it's a fancy name for where the line touches the x and y axis, right? And so let me just briefly review that with you. If I have a line over here, right, this would be the y-intercept, 0, b, and this would be the x-intercept, a, 0, right? So notice to get the y-intercept, right, I need to set x equal to 0. So let's get the y-intercept over here, right? And if I want to get the y-intercept, I need to set x equal to 0. We could probably cover this up, right? So if I cover this up, or maybe I can just cross it off over here. I don't know how I can cover it up here on the screen. But let's just do the work here, okay? So if you get the y-intercept by setting x equal to 0, I'm going to show you the work here because it's hard for me to cover it up. Right, you end up with a one-step equation, right? Y just equals 5. And so your y-intercept is 0, 5. So there you have a point on the graph already, okay? So if you want to get the x-intercept, right, you set y equal to 0, right? Because notice over here, the y value is 0 on the graph, right? And so if I set y equal to 0, just plug in 0, right? Again, you're going to just have a one-step equation. You're going to have x is equal to 2, right? And right away, you have 2 points. 2 points determine a line, right? 0, 5, 2, 0 is what you want to draw over here. I'm not going to draw all the tick marks. Well, I guess I can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 2, 0 is right here, 0, 5 right here. Okay, so that's a quick way of doing graphing a line if it's in standard form, right? This is called standard form. Okay, that's the new form that you may not be familiar with or heard of, but you know, you get introduced to it here in Math 2. Okay, so that's way 1. All right, and when you do your homework, you have it. You have many different ways you can choose to do your homework. You don't have to do it both ways. So what's way 2? Way 2 is to, you know, get y by itself. Okay, so here's way 2. And the equation was 5x plus 2y is equal to 10, right? You were probably taught to get y by itself on this one. You're like, okay, you know, 2y is equal to negative 5x plus 10, right? And then divide everything by 2. That's going to cancel. And now, right, you identify your slope and you identify your y-intercept, right, 0, 5, right? And so I'm not going to graph it right now, right? You can just go back to this graph right here, right? Plot 0, 5, go down 5. Excuse me. Go down 5 over to the right 2. And that's another way of doing it. Okay, so whichever way you find easier. Personally, I find getting the x and y intercepts a lot faster. In fact, you could even do it in your head if you're really quick at solving one-step equations. Okay. All right, so we have equations in standard form. Let's take a look at the very last 2 examples here that oftentimes confuse students, okay? So if I have this right here, y is equal to 8, right? This is a horizontal line, and oftentimes students get confused, like, do I go to the x-axis or do I go to the y-axis? Well, because it says y is equal to 8, right? You want to go to your y-axis. And I'm not going to draw all 8 tick marks. I'm just going to pretend that this is 8, right? Would you agree that this is y is equal to 8? Well, if this is y is equal to 8, just draw a horizontal line. If it's y is equal to something, you're going to have a horizontal line. And how do I know I did this problem correct? I don't know. Let's say this coordinate is, let's say this coordinate is 0, right? Let's say this coordinate is, for the sake of argument, let's say 8. Let's say this is negative 8. If I say, what is this coordinate right here? You would say, Mr. Zhu, that is 8, 8, right? If I say, what is this coordinate right here? You would say, that's 0, 8, right? If I say, what's this coordinate over here? You would say, that's negative 8, 8. Okay, notice the y value is always 8, right? And so that's how you verify if you did it correctly. You know, for part E over here, what if you have x is equal to negative 4? Again, how do I graph a line where it's just one variable? Well, if it says x is equal to something, which is what it does, go to x is equal to negative 4, somewhere over here, and draw a vertical line, okay? A vertical line. And that's the equation x is equal to negative 4, okay? X equals something, you draw a vertical line. Y is equal to something, you draw a horizontal line. That's how you remember it, okay? And again, just to verify, right, let's say this coordinate right here is 5, okay? And I don't know, let's say this coordinate right here is negative 3. Actually, that can't, yeah, maybe I'll call it negative 3. If I say, what's this coordinate right here? You would say, Mr. Zhu, that's negative 4, negative 3. If I say, what's this coordinate right here? You would say, well, that's negative 4, 0. If I say, what's this coordinate? You would say that's negative 4, 5, right? And notice the x value is always x is equal to negative 4. And that's how you can check if you're not 100% sure if you graphed it right. Because I know sometimes it's confusing if you see just a single variable, you think it's either a vertical line or horizontal line, right? And that's true, but you have to figure out which one is which. All right, so as a last example, why don't you guys just, maybe pause your video over here and then just try this on your own. Okay, try graph 2x is equal to 5 minus 3y. Okay, so pause this video and then I'm going to go over it with you. Okay, so try graphing this. 2x is equal to 5 minus 3y. Okay, so hopefully you guys had some time to work on it, and I hope you click pause instead of waiting for me to give you the answer. There's a couple of ways of doing this, right? You could get y by itself, or you could get the x and y intercepts, okay? So it just depends. I'll show you both ways, okay? So let's practice getting y by itself. In fact, I'm going to use the standard. Okay, I'm going to use way 1. X and y intercepts. And so for the x and y intercepts over here, I'm just going to move everything over. This is 2x plus 3y is equal to 5, right? And if I want to get the x-intercept or the y-intercept, right, I set x equal to 0. And I'm going to show you a little bit of less work this time, okay? If I set x is equal to 0, right, it just becomes 3y is equal to 5. Y is equal to 5/3, okay? So there is my y-intercept, 0, 5/3. And if I want to get the x-intercept, right, I set y equal to 0. Again, showing you a little bit of less work this time, right? I set this guy equal to 0. If this guy goes to 0, it becomes 2x is equal to 5. X is equal to 5/2. There's your x-intercept. Okay, so right away you have 2 points. And, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't have to have everything all perfectly drawn, right? But you understand the idea, okay? So the x-intercept is 2.5, 0, right over here. And then there's a fraction right here, right? This is about 5/3, which is 1 2/3. So 0, 1 2/3, somewhere over here. So roughly, this is what your line should look like, okay? So I just did it way 1. Again, if you want to get y by itself on this one, you're welcome to do so, right? Way 2. Let me just briefly show you how to do that, right? You have 2x is equal to 5 minus 3y. If I want to get y by itself, I'm going to move the 3y over to this side, and I'm going to move the 2x over to this side, okay? Divide everything by 3, right? And you would have this. Right, the y-intercept is 5/3, the m is negative 2/3. Okay, so you have to be comfortable with both, right? 0, 5/3. Plot this, right, and then do a rise over run from this point. But because this one's kind of annoying, because it's a fraction, right, your coordinates are not going to be perfect. Okay, so this concludes a little review on graphing lines. Please work on the worksheet that I've attached on Google Classroom.